Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadadaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for taking out your valuable time to join in this reading and discussion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So we are at Canto 9, Chapter 19, entitled King Yayati Achieves Liberation. So far in text, till text number 17, we are discussing about this allegorical story about a he-goat and a she-goat, which is being narrated by Yayati himself to his good wife, Devyani. And Yayati has reached to the point which we discussed yesterday in great detail. Vidvamsam api karshati Balavan Indriyan Gramo Vidvamsam api karishati. This Indriya are so balwan that even a person, a learned person, even they take the mind of even a learned person away. So, what to speak of a conditioned soul who is not even trying to control. I was watching a drama today entitled Misdirected Youth by recently Amrila Prabhu and the devotees in Delhi did this drama. And in that they were mentioning that in India, 89% of the content or the people browsing internet, they are going to pornographic sites. So much attachment to that sort of content is there that the youth especially are using that internet, gadgets, easy access to mobile phones and whatnot, smart TV, smart, what everything is smart. The gadgets are smart, but people are becoming fool. So the point is that it's very sad statistics, and India leads. India is the number one rank on in this matter. Number one in even the exporter of beef and whatnot. So anyways, so the point was we should be very careful and engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. So let's read further in today's reading, text number 18. Urnam varsha sahasram me vishayan sevato sakrit tathapi chanushvanam trishna teshu pajayate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I have spent a full 1,000 years enjoying sense gratification, yet my desire to enjoy such pleasure increases daily. Purport: Maharaj Yayati is explaining in terms of his actual experience how strong are sexual desires even in old age. So, Maharaj Yayati actually revealed that the story is not about goat and he-goat and she-goat. The story is about my own self. about a person who is too attached to senses. So, as we have discussed this point, that is applying butter to the fire will not satiate. Rather, it will continue to grow. So, by just the body's old age, the desires, the tendency to enjoy senses will not stop by itself unless one makes a conscious attempt to purify those desires by serving the master of all desire, that is Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. So 1,000 years passed. 1,000 years, a very long time. But it's interesting, one time when I think Gopal Prabhu or one other senior devotee was mentioning that when one is in a Bhagavatam class, one moment appears to be like 1,000 years. Or 1 minute appears to be a very long time. But when someone is with his girlfriend, boyfriend, then the whole night appears to be like a minute. The whole hours and hours of talking or spending time or hanging out, mall, disco, whatnot, appears to be just few minutes. So, but for devotees, it's not the time changes, it's the priority changes. Some devotees relish Krishna Katha so much, like Parikshit Maharaj. 7 days pass, he didn't feel like no hunger, no sleep, no waiting, when will it end? Rather relishing the nectar. So if one is relishing, then time will work out. It's not that often people procrastinate, oh, I don't have time, okay, I'll do it in old age, but it never comes. Rather, if we don't make an effort now, then our desires will continue to grow. Even in old age, just by age, the desires won't pause. That's a point here. So I know a lot of devotees wanted to read but couldn't get chance yesterday. So those who didn't get chance yesterday can go first. Anyone wants to read text 19? Raghu Prabhu, you want to read?
Yeah, I can read. Hare Krishna devotees. Tasmat etam aham tyaktva brahmani adhyaya manasam niradvandovo nirahankaras charishyami maigrahe saha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, I shall now give up all these desires and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Free from the dualities of mental concoction and free from false prestige, I shall wander in the forest with the animals. Purport. To go to the forest and live there with the animals, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the only means by which to give. Can you scroll up, please? Yes, thank you. But by which to give up lusty desires. Unless one gives up such desires, one's mind cannot be freed from material contamination. Therefore, if one is at all interested in being freed from the bondage of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease, after a certain age, one must go to the forest. Panchashodhavam vanam rajet. After 50 years of age, one should voluntarily give up family life and go to the forest. The best forest is Vrindavana, where one need not live with the animals, but can associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never leaves Vrindavana. Cultivating Krishna consciousness in Vrindavana is the best means of being liberated from material bondage. For in Vrindavana, one can automatically meditate upon Krishna. Vrindavana has many temples, and in one or more of these temples, one may see the form of the Supreme Lord as Radha Krishna or Krishna Balarama, and meditate upon this form. As expressed here by the words Brahmani Adhyaya, one should concentrate one's mind upon the Supreme Lord, Parabrahman. The Parabrahman is Krishna, as confirmed by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. Krishna and his abode Vrindavana are not different. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu said, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vijay Tad Dhamma Vrindavanam. Vrindavana is good as Krishna. Therefore, if one somehow or other gets the opportunity to live in Vrindavana, and if one is not a pretender but simply lives in Vrindavan and concentrates mind upon Krishna, one is liberated from material bondage. One's mind is not purified. However, even in Vrindavan, if one is agitated by lusty desires, one should not live in Vrindavan and commit offenses. For a life of offenses in Vrindavan is no better than the lives of the monkeys and hogs there. Many monkeys and hogs live in Vrindavan. Many monkeys and hogs live in Vrindavan and they're concerned with their sexual desires. Men who have gone to Vrindavan but who still hanker for sex should immediately leave Vrindavan and stop their grievous offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord. There are many misguided men who live in Vrindavan to satisfy their sexual desires, but they are certainly no better than the monkeys and hogs. Those who are under the control of Maya and specifically under the control of lusty desires are called Maya Mriga. Indeed, everyone in the conditional stage of material life is a Maya Mriga. It is said, Maya Mrigam Dayep Sitam Anvatava. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu took sannyasa to show his causeless mercy to the Maya Mrigas. The people of this material world who suffer because of lusty desires. One should follow the principles of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu and always think of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Then one will be eligible to live in Vrindavan and his life will be successful. Hare Krishna. So this translation and purport is talking about the king who finally gave up his lusty desires and went to the forest and roamed around the animals to seek to understand the truth and concentrate on his spiritual life. So here Prabhupada is elaborating that people should give up after 50 years and give up a home life and go to the forest, but in this case he's recommending Vrindavan, and he has several points in this, but that's one of them. And then within Vrindavan itself, there are several people who go there, but it's not a question of just going there. You have to have real desire to see the Lord and understand the difference between the body and the soul and so on, and meditate. But there are people who go there and then they're hankering for sex and go back to their material desires. So that kind of bhakti is useless. So that's basically what I get. There are several points here, but back to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think we discussed at one point that the 6 hours of reformation. So we can reflect here, and the reflection is the first hour. But what am I doing? Here, Yayati Maharaj is reflecting. Thousands of years I spent in something which I was wanting to get, but I never really got it. So that's will happen through honest introspection or reflection. The second hour of realization will come that I didn't get real happiness. I got tuchha sukha, and now I'm still dissatisfied. So from reflection, realization will come, and then one remorse will come. Alas, I wasted my whole life. The 6 are for reformation. So reflection, realization, then remorse or regret. Now I should do something better. So this is the verse which is telling, okay, after regret, it should be followed by reformation. That means what next? Just crying about I did my past wrong, okay, I did these mistakes will not make the mistakes go away. Now I shall give up all the bad desires and take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord. This will free me up from all the bodily conception of life. This is the formula to Param Drishtva, the higher taste. To give up the lower taste, one has to meditate on higher taste rather than meditating upon the opposite sex or money or this or that, the different types of lust. Let me take shelter of Krishna. So that's the 4th R. And then repeat not and to always remember the mistakes so that we don't again go back to our previous mistakes. So here, Prabhupada is so nicely mentioning that one should go to Vrindavan. But Vrindavan is not just a place, it's a state of consciousness. In all the yatras, this is mentioned. One could be in Vrindavan, but thinking of alcohol, opposite sex, that's no better than dogs and hogs and monkeys. But one could be in far away externally from Vrindavan, but always thinking about holy places, Rajavasis, their love for Krishna. So in that way, one is Krishna conscious or Vrindavan conscious. So one should basically not just artificially make an extreme step. Rather, one should develop one's attraction towards Krishna. One should purify the bad desires and go to holy places. Yes, going to holy places, Prabhupada is mentioning here. Cultivating Krishna consciousness is in Vrindavan is the best means for being liberated. So yes, it's easy. It's easy there because everywhere you'll find devotee. Go to Sabji Wala devotee. Go here, Rickshaw Wala Radhe Radhe. So many cows, so many deities, temples, devotees, Krishna Katha. But at the same time, even in the midst of all that, there is risk because mind is very, very, very tricky. Even in the midst of all that, the mind could be thinking of something totally different, totally non-Krishna conscious. So we should try our best. Any other comments, any thoughts anyone has in this connection?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we saw so many personalities who are opposite to bhakti, but they return back to the bhakti when there's intervention from the devotees or coming in contact with the devotees. Only here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that without any coming to contact with the devotees or anything, that King Yayati transformed himself to a path of bhakti. Is it right?
Krishna, very nice question, Prabhu. I was hearing, I think in the beginning of this chapter, I mentioned that I was hearing His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. So from the text number 1, he mentioned that Maharaj Yayati learned about the noble example of Maharaj Ambrish, that he was also a king. I am a king. Look at me and look at him. I am just a sense monger or just gratifying my senses, and look at him. He's using Savai Mana Krishna Padaravinde. So by reading about the Mahajans, by hearing about the Mahajans, we derive inspiration. We derive inspiration. What am I doing? Or what is supposed to be done? So the details are not mentioned in the Bhagavatam, but that does not mean that he did not. So Radha Maharaj specifically mentioned that he heard about Maharaj Ambrish, his katha. So hearing Krishna katha, which is not different from devotee katha, is also Krishna katha about his devotees, will help Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu, right? So we read in this Bhagavatam every day, when we hear about Krishna katha, all the impurities are gone. The tattva is revealed, what is right, what is wrong is revealed. So he did hear, and not only that, one other thing is important here to note, that he did not stop his attachment to Krishna. In the previous chapters also, we read that he was doing yajna. He was cognizant that the Supreme Lord Vasudeva he performed various sacrifices to satisfy Brahmanas, to give gifts to the Brahmanas. I'm going to chapter 18, text 48, 49. He was cognizant that Lord Vasudeva is the complete Supreme Lord. So it's not that he was a totally, like gone case. He was certainly a devotee, a mixed devotee in this connection. He had a lot of attachment towards material things, but he was a devotee. And he had the great heritage also, the legacy. And he heard Krishna Katha, which just helped to rekindle that dormant Krishna consciousness. So multiple factors were there. Does that help, Prabhu?
Prabhuji. Yes, I was thinking he was transformed. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhu. So let's read the next verse. Anyone who didn't get chance yesterday and really wants to read? Shital Mataji, you want to read? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all devotees. Drushtam Shrutam Asadbuddhva Nanodhyayana Sandishayeta Sansritam Chatmana Shamcha Tatra Vidvamsa Atmadrika. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad, can you scroll down, Prabhuji, thoda? Yes, thank you. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad, in this life or in the next, on this planet or on the heavenly planets, is temporary and useless, and that an intelligent person should not try to enjoy or even think of such things, is the knower of the self. Such a self-realized person knows quite well that material happiness is the very cause of continued material existence and forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. Purport: the living entity is a spiritual soul and the material body is his engagement. This is the beginning of spiritual understanding. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. The real mission of human life is to get free from engagement in the material body. Therefore, Krishna descends to teach the conditioned soul about spiritual realization and how to become free from material bondage. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata. The words dharmasya glanhi mean pollution of one's existence. Our existence is now polluted and it must be purified. Sattvam sudhyate. The human life is, our existence is now polluted and it must be purified. Sattvam Suddhyate. The human life is meant for this purification, not for thinking of happiness in terms of the external body, which is the cause of material bondage. Therefore, in this verse, Maharaja Yayati advises that whatever material happiness we see and whatever is promised for enjoyment is all merely flickering and temporary. Abrahma bhuvanaloka punaravartinarjuna. Even if one is promoted to Brahmaloka, if one is not freed from material bondage, one must return to this planet Earth and continue in the miserable condition of material existence. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. One should always keep this understanding in mind so as not to be allured by any kind of sense enjoyment in this life or in the next. One who is fully aware of this truth is self-realized, Sa Atmadrik. But aside from him, everyone suffers in the cycle of birth and death, Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. This understanding is one of true intelligence, and anything contrary to this is but a cause of unhappiness. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta. Only a Krishna conscious person who knows the aim and object of life is peaceful. All others, whether karmis, jnanis, or yogis, are restless and cannot enjoy real peace. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading this wonderful verse. Basically, it tells the reality of life, or the truth of life. Even Prahlad Maharaj says this, that desire to be happy in this world is a cause of suffering. The more we aspire to be happy, the more we aspire to be happy in this material world, through the things of this material world, through the so-called I, me, and mine of this world, the more we will be troubled. If I get this, I will be happy. If I get this new job, I'll be happy. If I get this boy or girl, I'll be happy. If I get this home or car, I'll be happy. Those very things become the cause of suffering. Adi antavantu konti anateshu ramate buddha. 522 of Bhagavad Gita also. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga. The pleasures derived from the senses and the propensity of I, me, and mine. Rather, what to speak of pleasure, they become a cause of problem. So, not only in this planet, but even the ones promised, one who knows the material happiness, whether good or bad, in this life or in the next, or in the upper planets or the lower planets, whatever, is temporary. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. The manufacturer of this product, referring to material world, has stamped this product as two things, Dukhalayam and ashashvatam. That means it's temporary. Whatever is giving us happiness will be a big cause of suffering. And it's temporary, so it's useless. So, intelligent person should not take those things as the real goal and sum and substance of the life. The real sum and substance is Krishna consciousness, not material happiness, spiritual happiness. Through bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan, and Bhakti, the three bhas, are the only eternal thing. Because they are not of this world, they are of the spiritual world. The Supreme Lord, the process of devotion, and the devotees. So that we should take very seriously. Rest everything else of the material world, Maharaj mentions this, that we should not take things of this material world so seriously. It may appear very big thing today, but after a few days it will be just so trivial. Right? Isn't it? When we are in 10th grade, it seems that 10th grade is everything. If we don't pass in 10th, life will be like waste. And this sort of pressure is also built up. Then somehow pass 10th, get good grades. And then 12th grade, this is the deciding. Well, 10th, oh, whether you get non-medical or medical, right? The two options only. Then 12th grade. Which college will you go? This is a deciding factor. This will make your life or break your life. It will work. Then you go to college. Then now you entered college. So ultimately now, who cares whether you got 50% marks or 60% marks? Is anyone going to ask in 10th grade or 80%, 90%? It's just a number. Whether you were the topper of the college or the last person in the college, is anyone going to care really? Well, it's not for students, basically. We should study hard, our best, but ultimately, whatever has happened will happen only. So whatever joy, sorrow, wealth, disease, health has to come will come in due course of time. But Krishna consciousness, we should take very seriously. And if we take that very seriously, then we will be immune. As Bhagavad Gita says, like a lotus, like a drop of water. Remember, as Gauranga Darshan Prabhu showed a nice picture also. Padam pada ivambasa, as we read, like a drop of water on the lotus petal. It won't affect us. The sukha dukha won't affect us. Like Pandavas, like Kunti Maharani. Ups and downs won't affect, because Krishna consciousness helps to navigate those ups and downs, crests and troughs so smoothly that one is not restless. Other one is always happy. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, sakaleva, ashanta. Desiring for bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, desires, some special mercy power, mystic powers. Sakaleva shanta, always ashanta. And Bhagavad Gita says, when there is no shanti, how can there be happiness without peace? Krishna bhakta nishkama sakaleva shanta. Krishna bhakta is nishkam, nir mama, nir asha. Without the controllership mentality and without the fruitive desires, only spiritual desires, then that person is very happy. The real cause of suffering is one. Anyone knows what's the real cause of suffering? Sorry? I missed it.
Desire.
Desires?
Our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna.
Yes, desires to enjoy separately from Krishna. Nice, thank you. Krishna bholi sei jeev anadir bahirmukh atev maya tare de samsara dukh. Krishna bholi sei jeev anadir bahirmukh. From a long time we have turned bahirmukh, we turned away from Krishna. Therefore we see the shadow when we turn our face away from the sun. Atev maya tare de samsara dukh. All the dukkha is because of turning our face away from Krishna, or desire to enjoy separate from Krishna, or forgetfulness of Krishna. But when we turn towards Krishna, then no more dukkha, because he's a source of happiness. How can there be dukkha in the life of one who is the source of all happiness? So that's why we are here. Prabhupada said we have come to distribute the highest happiness. Any other comments anyone has?
I just want to say that the whole pastime is so instructive, because everything started just from one person wearing some other person's clothes, and that's it. That can cause such a, what they say, Mahabharat, big misunderstanding and everything. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mother. That's a wonderful reflection. Small thing can lead to so much. Sridhama Prabhu wanted to say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada used to say that my devotees, meaning his devotees, their disciples, they don't take Maya very seriously. And his point was that Maya has to be taken very seriously. It's not that because we are in the Krishna consciousness path, we can easily, conquer Maya and not fall into all this kind of sense gratification. Padam padam yat vipadam. Of course, Bhagavatam says ne tesam. Devotees can come out of that. But it is a very, very delicate task. That is why I am very fascinated by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that here Parikshit Maharaj has got only 7 days. At this point, maybe half the time is already gone. But both the speaker and the listener, so keen and so enthusiastically, they're discussing all these worldly issues. Krishna has not even been discussed. He's going to come only in the next canto. But they're talking about because these are all the impediments. It's Krishna consciousness is a journey. It's not that we do something and then we reach a destination, we are done. So because this is going to have, Krishna says satatam, all the time we are going to be doing this. So it has happened with the Vishwamitra. He tried, his first tapasya got broken because of Kama, Menaka. And his second tapasya was also broken because of Krodha, Ramba. So these are all Maha Munis, Saptarishis. So if that can happen to those people, and Yayati's statement has to be taken very seriously because he's a personality who has gone through this experience. If a non-smoker says, don't smoke, people will ignore him. They'll say, what do you know? You don't know anything about smoking, right? But here, he had enjoyed this for maybe thousands and thousands of years and properly approved by his, Shukracharya. He's not doing anything illegal. He has all the resources. He has got the time. He has got the kingdom. He is a king. And his final realization is that it is not working. So we have to take his statement very seriously. If Yayati is not happy, there is no way, with very limited resources, with very limited time, there's no way we are going to be happy. So we are glad that he's getting into Krishna consciousness and going into forest and eventually self-realization and take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Haribol.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing such nectar. Okay, let's read the next verse. Anyone who didn't get chance yesterday wants to read? Prabhu, want to read, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, did you? Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Iti uktva na shuno jayam tadiyam purve vaya datva sva jarasam tasmad adhade vigata spara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sukadeva Goswami said, after speaking in this way to his wife Devyani, King Yayati, who was now free from all material desires, called his youngest son Puru and returned Puru's young youth in exchange for his own old age. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So as we can see here, after enjoying and now that he realized everything, so the king Yayati he remembered his promise to his son and gave back the kingdom to him, and in this way he realized that only shelter is to take the shelter of Lord Krishna, and only with that we can come across the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please add Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. In the story of Puranjana, we also discussed how to overcome material desires. And one of the processes mentioned, of course, you have to engage in the higher service of the Supreme Lord. But one of the other things is discussion. When we discuss about lust, when we discuss about the ill effects, when we discuss with devotees, like-minded people, about anger, about greed. So that was mentioned over there that that helps to understand the ill effects and the impacts it may cause. That helps to nourish our intelligence and say no when next time those propensities may torment us. So discussion is certainly helpful. So here, through discussion, through introspection, through hearing from great souls, through hearing about great souls like Ambrish Maharaj, he became pure. And not only that, he is speaking words of self-realized soul by sharing that in the form of an allegorical story and helping his good wife, Devyani, as well, to come out of that bondage state. So he gave his youth, the youth back to Puru. So looks like it was probably, I don't know which yuga was going on, certainly not Kali Yuga, because it's I'm not sure which yuga was going on that time. And
Probably
there was
Dwapar Yuga, Prabhu. Dwapar Yuga, probably.
Dwapar Yuga.
Because we read that Pururava, when he left, the Treta Yuga started, then Lord Ram appears. So that is at the near towards the end of the Treta Yuga. And Krishna appears towards the end of the Dwapar Yuga. He's about to appear.
In the other one, it says Treta provision, maybe, I'm not sure.
In Dwapar, the lifespan was close to 1,000 years, so it could be 3,000. So, well, we can go back and see. But the point was that the life was still, he still had, even after 1,000 years, he exchanged the youth. He returned Puru's youth in exchange of his own old age. That means Puru's was old, Puru's body was old, but he realized, Yayati realized that even after 1,000 years, I'm not satisfied. That means after 100,000 years or 100 million years, I won't be satisfied. It's not a matter that when I grow old, I will be satisfied. So better I use my time rightly and be Krishna conscious. So he returned the youth back to his youngest son named Guru. Let's see what happens further. Yes, Avani, want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dishi Dakshina Purvasyam Druhyum Dakshinan To Yadum Pradiksham Durvasum Chakra Udecham Anum Ishvaram. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Yayati gave the southeast to his son Dhruyu, the south to his son Yadu, the west to his son Durvasu, and the north to his son Anu. In this way, he divided the kingdom. Hare Krishna, back to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So, Yati had how many sons? Who remembers?
5.
4.
So, Dorhyu is mentioned. Yadu was the eldest. So basically, he gave the 4 directions. So southeast to Dorhyu, south to Yadu, who was the eldest. the west to Durvasu, and the north to the son Anu. Interesting point here that anyone remembers what were Durhyu, Durvasu, and Anu compared to? There was a verse.
Stool of the father, stool, because they did not hear, obey his command.
Yes, thank you. So there were 4 classes of sons mentioned. The topmost is one who understands without the desire or without the explicit being vocal about, okay, please do this. Even before the guru tells or the father tells, the disciple or the student or the son understands it. First class. Second class, guru tells, can you please do it? And the disciple says, yes, sir. Yes, Gurudev. Yes, my father. Third, with ashraddha. Father tells 5 times and unwillingly and somehow drags himself to do that. And number 4 does not follow the instruction. So they were like not great sons in this connection as per this verse, but the father still gave them a portion to rule. This way he divided his kingdom. So the 4 sons besides Puru, we see that in this verse. So let's see what happened to Puru. This Puru's name is not in this verse. So let's see, 23, anyone who hasn't yet read? Yes, Masruti Mataji, on to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, and everyone. Text 23. Bhumandalasya sarvasya purum arhattamam visham avisichaya grahjam stasya vase sthapayavanam ayayu. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Yayati enthroned his youngest son Puru as the emperor of the entire world and the proprietor of all its riches. And he placed all the other sons who were older than Puru under Puru's control. So here King Yayati is giving all the power to his youngest son Puru and keeping all his other sons in Puru's control for the whole, to reign the whole world. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. The father is equal towards all? Yes or no? All his children, I mean?
Yes.
Yes. And then why did he place Puru as the controller of everything?
He was reciprocating.
Yes. Same as the Supreme Lord. He says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu. Samoham, I am same, I am equal. Na me dveshu si na priya. I am not envy anyone, nor I am partial to anyone. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Those who worship me with devotion, I will also reciprocate. I am also a friend to them. Those who never forget me, I never forget them. So Puru, he did his best for the father. And the father did his best for him. So, although he didn't ask for that, but in giving, we receive. That's a famous lesson. In giving, we receive. He gave up his youth to serve the father. Now he got not only got his youth back, he got the whole world. That means in giving, we never will lose. So, great lesson here. Any other comments anyone has? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Just as a humor, in Kali Yuga, this problem, Yayati episode will not happen because there are no Purus. They'll just tell their parent, just go to a retirement home, you're done with that,
That's so true. Even the both had one. Radha Govind Maharaj was mentioning that the person was dying on the bed, right? Dying, literally like about to die. Last few moments, and the son, wanted some property papers, his stamp. It's funny, it's serious, it's funny, it's sad, but it's funny also. He wanted his thumb finger, the thumbprint on some papers, because old people sit in the not sometimes. Very old people, this is like way back, 100 years back, not to properly sign. But so this person, while taking him to the hospital, was trying to put his thumb dip in the ink pad and trying to get his thumb impression on the pad. But this person was so reluctant. I don't want to give my property to you, because I don't want to give anything to you, so don't. And then somehow the son, with some pressure, and then he was putting like saliva, like trying to spit on that thing. So somehow it gets, muddled or something. So Adhava Maharaj was telling the story that he saw that. So attachment is so deep. So deep. Okay, one last verse. We'll stop. Yes, Yayati, to read.
Hare Krishna. Asevitam varsha pugan shadvargam vishayeshu saha kshanena mumuche nidam jata paksha iva dvija. Having enjoyed sense gratification for many, many years, O King Parikshit, Yayati was accustomed to it, but he gave it up entirely in a moment, just as a bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. Purport: that Maharaj Yayati was immediately liberated from the bondage of conditioned life is certainly astonishing. But the example given herewith is appropriate. A tiny baby bird, dependent fully on its father and mother even to eat, suddenly flies away from the nest when its wings have grown. Similarly, if one fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately liberated from the bondage of conditioned life, as promised by the Lord himself, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishami, as stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2.4.18. Kiratahunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhirashambha Yavana Kashadya Yene Chapapa Yadapashraya Shraya Shuddhyanti Tasme Prabha Vishnave Namaha. Kirata Hun Andhra Pulinda Pulkash Abhira Shumbha Yavan and the Kush races, and even others addicted to sinful acts, can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, for he is the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Lord Vishnu is so powerful that he can deliver anyone at once if he is pleased to do so. And Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can be pleased immediately if we accept his order by surrendering unto him as Maharaj Yayati did. Maharaj Yayati was eager to serve Vasudeva, Krishna, and therefore as soon as he wanted to renounce material life, Lord Vasudeva helped him. We must therefore be very sincere in surrendering ourselves unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Then we can immediately be liberated from all the bondage of conditioned life. This is clearly expressed in the next verse. Haribol. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So what did you learn from this verse, Yayati?
That if you surrender unto the Lord, then he will liberate you. If you have devotion. Yeah.
sense gratification binds us, self-realization uplifts us or liberates us or makes us really free from the bondage of material world. Like a bird, when it gets its wings, it's free. This famous example is given one time. The eagle's egg was somehow landed in the pile of hen's eggs. So the hen hatched the eagle, and the eagle baby came out. The eagle was with the hen or the other small chickens. They don't fly high like eagles. So this is the problem. So the eagle refers to, okay, let me share few more details. Sadhu came. Sadhu saw like Baba eagle is also thinking he's also a hen or a chicken. He doesn't know the eagle can fly way up in the sky. And then the eagle is thinking himself to be like a chicken. Why? Because of bondage, because of false identity, because of bad association. Similarly, so when the guru, the sadhu, took him to the cliff and threw him off, showed him, look at, this is your real identity. Look up. They are your that's your real identity. And then threw him off the cliff, and after 1 or 2 attempts, he was able to take off. So that eagle is us, landed in the material world and thinking, I am this body, I am Indian or American, black or white. Things in relation to this body are meant to be enjoyed. But the sadhus come, like the guru, and take us, Baba, this is not the place to enjoy. You don't know. The real enjoyment is up high in the sky, referring to spiritual world. What are you doing here? Look at the great souls. As Maharaj Yayati saw Amrish Maharaj, how he is really experiencing the bliss of bhakti. Then, by seeing their example, by sincerely endeavoring and trying, one, by the blessings of Guru Sadhu Shastra, one takes off in Krishna consciousness. And that's by the process of taking shelter of the lotus feet. So one will be free from this material bondage. Otherwise, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So any more comments here before we wind up today? Thoughts, questions, any additions? Okay, so we will, yes, Shri Prabhu, you were saying something, sorry.
Prabhuji, I was thinking about Narada Muni, even, a personality like Narada Muni. He was a Gandharva. He had all the beauty and he had all the talent, singer, musician. But the way he could really realize Krishna was through the sadhu sangha and the association. Very good.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that reference. Okay, so we will pause here and continue tomorrow. Tantra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Śrīmad ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyeva Thank you, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.